So like many of you, I have very fond memories of reading the Harry Potter books while growing up. To be honest, I was totally addicted. I would read throughout all my classes, after school, and even stay up late at night immersed in the Harry Potter universe. The series itself has sold almost 500 million copies, and with that, a ton of fan theories have popped up over the years. J.K. Rowling herself has even confirmed a couple theories.
Is he gay?
Dumbledore's gay. But I told a reader that once and I thought she was going to slap me. But I always saw Dumbledore as gay.
To be honest, I never saw that one coming, although I think 99% of people didn't either. Alright, enough of me blabbering, here are 5 Harry Potter theories too good not to be true. Number 5. An alternate take on the prophecy. One of the major driving forces behind the Harry Potter books was a prophecy told by Sybil Trelawney. Here is a condensed version of it. Either must die at the hand of the other, for neither can live while the other survives. In the books, this was explained as meaning that in the end, either Harry or Voldemort would have to kill the other. But what if the prophecy actually had a deeper meaning? What if it actually means that the only way either of them can achieve death is at the hand of the other? This goes back to the part of the prophecy that reads, either must die at the hand of the other. Going off this alternate theory of the prophecy, the one who survives has no other means of achieving death. This is also exactly what Voldemort would want for himself, as immortality would certainly make him unstoppable. But as we saw at the end of the series, he is killed while Harry survives. Therefore, by killing Voldemort, Harry Potter actually sacrificed the one thing that happens to all of us, death. Something else to note is that throughout the series, it is made clear to us that the afterlife is a very real thing in this world. Death is most certainly not the end, as we've been shown that a person's soul lives on in another realm. We are shown the spirit of Harry's mother and father, Sirius Black, and even Remus Lupin, all people who have died and are waiting for him in the afterlife. But after Voldemort is killed, Harry Potter forfeits any chance he has of ever seeing his friends and family again, as he is by all intents and purposes, immortal. If this is all true, death really isn't that bad of a sacrifice to make, but living forever means that he will never get to rest in the afterlife with the people he loves. Harry Potter would forever be the boy who lived. Number 4. The length of the Harry Potter books. So, if we take a look at the length of each Harry Potter book and compare it to the progression of the series as a whole, there are some pretty interesting results. The first book in the series, Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone, contains 223 pages, while the second book is made up of 251 and the third consists of 317. Amazingly, the last 4 books in the series contain anywhere from 600 to 700 pages. From this information, we can easily say that as the Harry Potter series progressed, the books got increasingly longer, and in some cases, the later books were nearly 3 times as long as the first couple installments. Some may say that the reason for this is simply that the books got longer as J.K. Rowling improved and matured as an author, but I believe this can be explained by an in-world phenomenon. As the series progressed, the plots and characters became increasingly complex, not because Rowling wanted deeper stories, but because the characters grow older as the saga moves forward, and thus are able to grasp the complexities and details of what is going on around them. For example, when Snape is first introduced, he is seen as a glaringly dreadful teacher who seems to hate Harry for almost no reason. But later on, Snape is shown to be much more than that. He is a deeply haunted, complex individual who had lost the person he loved most in the world. Another great example that supports this theory is Dumbledore. When we first meet Dumbledore, he is portrayed as a wise old wizard who can do no wrong, but later books show him to be a man consumed by doubt and regret. Another thing to note is that the stories are generally told through Harry's point of view, which means that in the Sorcerer's Stone, he was completely in awe of his surroundings due to both his young age and the culture shock he experienced entering a new world. But by the later books, he has adjusted to his life at Hogwarts and is better able to clearly analyze his environment and make connections that would have otherwise gone over his head. Following this theory, it also makes a lot of sense that the Order of the Phoenix was the longest book. I believe it's accurate to say that Harry in the 5th book reaches the height of puberty as he's about 15 or 16 years old, and therefore is more confused, scared, and lonely than at any other time in the series, and the length of the book reflects that. Where there was once the security of Hogwarts, there is now the corruption of the Ministry. Where there was once a magical talking hat, there is now a killing curse. If anything, I really just think this shows the true genius of J.K. Rowling as an author. She wrote each book for a target audience as they aged alongside with the characters. I really can't think of any other author who's been able to achieve the same effect to such perfection, really. But then again, that's why she's worth $1 billion. Number 3. The Tale of the Three Brothers. In The Tale of the Three Brothers, Death awarded each of the brothers a gift of their choosing. The eldest brother asked for a wand more powerful than any in existence. Death then granted him the Elder Wand. The second brother wanted the power to resurrect people from the grave, so Death gave him the Resurrection Stone. And finally, the third and youngest brother did not trust Death, so he asked him for something to enable him to go forth without Death being able to follow. Death then handed over his own invisibility cloak. Although this story was a fairy tale told to children, I believe 4 of the characters in the Harry Potter universe represent the 3 brothers and Death. The first brother who lusted for power is obviously Voldemort. The second brother who wanted to bring back people from the dead can be interpreted as being Snape, as he lost Lily, the woman he loved more than anything in the world. And the youngest brother is none other than Harry Potter, as he simply wanted to continue on with his life, undisturbed and free from any dark magic. That leaves only Death, and Death is without a doubt Dumbledore. A piece of evidence pointing towards this is the fact that he had possession of all 3 Deathly Hollow items. He tracked down the Resurrection Stone, borrowed the Cloak of Invisibility from James Potter and kept it after he died, and bested Grindelwald, thereby becoming the master of the Elder Wand. Another piece of evidence that points towards Dumbledore being Death is at the end of the Tale of the 3 Brothers. After Death gave the 3 brothers their gifts, that same night the eldest brother's throat was slit. The second brother resurrected the girl he was going to marry before her untimely death, yet she was sad and cold and did not truly belong there. Driven mad by his failed resurrection, the second brother committed suicide. Death searched for years for the youngest brother, but never could find him. It was only when the brother reached an old age that he greeted Death as an old friend and they departed as equals. When Harry Potter is killed by Voldemort, he sees Dumbledore at King's Cross and greets him as an old friend. Additionally, Dumbledore's actions caused the death of all 3 characters, intentionally in Voldemort's and Harry's case. It has always been said that Voldemort's worst fear was death, and Dumbledore is referred to as the only one he ever feared. Number 2. Harry Potter was resurrected by the Hollows. So the official explanation for what happened when Voldemort hit Harry with the killing curse in the Deathly Hollows was that because Voldemort took Harry's blood to recreate his body, Lily's protection kept Harry from dying. However, I have come to believe that this doesn't accurately explain what went down. There are some key pieces of evidence which disprove this account and strengthen a different theory. When Voldemort attempted to kill Harry as a baby, the killing curse actually rebounded and killed him instead, making it necessary that he create a new body. And as you saw, this did not happen a second time. The spell worked as it should have. Additionally, when Harry was hit by the killing curse as a baby, it left the iconic mark on his forehead, which did not occur this time around. The final and most important piece of evidence which disproves the official explanation is that for a Horcrux to be destroyed, the container must also be destroyed or killed. So going off that last fact, we know that the Horcrux was destroyed by Voldemort himself when he cast the killing curse. This therefore means that the container, aka Harry, had to have died in the process. If Lily's protection was actually the reason Harry survived yet again, it would also mean that the Horcrux would not have been destroyed. When Harry is in King's Cross after his death, he was given the option to either move on or go back, which means that he was without a doubt dead. There was simply just some other force at work that provided him with this unique option. I believe this level of power was granted to Harry because he became the master of the United Hollows. Harry Potter possessed all 3 hollows and accepted his own death. Even though he didn't physically own every hollow at the same time, he employed the use of all 3 both indirectly and directly when he allowed Lord Voldemort to kill him. He was wearing the cloak, using the stone, and was killed by the wand, which he was currently the master of. But the true master doesn't only unite the hollows, the true master must accept that he will die, and when Harry went to his own death willingly, while possessing the hollows, he became the master of death because death never actually defeated him. Dumbledore even commented on it when he said, "And that, I think, will have made all the difference. Had Harry tried to duel, he would have simply died, and would surely not have been given the chance to come back." But he didn't, and because Harry sacrificed himself to protect others, the people in Hogwarts had the same protection that Harry had when Lily gave her life. Here's a quote from the book. "I've done what my mother did. Haven't you noticed how none of the spells you put on them are binding? You can't torture them. You can't touch them." For that to have actually worked, Harry Potter needed to truly die. Number 1. Wizards and Muggles. So this may sound a little far-fetched, but it does seem as if certain aspects of the wizarding world don't exactly add up. For one, isn't the Ministry of Magic sort of an odd name for a government? It doesn't sound like one at all realistically, it sounds more like the name of a department. Also, the head of the Ministry of Magic is called the Minister of Magic. People in the United States don't call the President of America, and in Britain, the Prime Minister is simply called the Prime Minister. Why is this distinction necessary when wizards don't even seem to know what type of government Muggle nations have? Also, during Harry Potter and the Half-Blood Prince, it is revealed that the Minister of Magic was required to tell the Prime Minister that he was bringing a dragon into the country. This honestly doesn't sound like a rule that wizards would make for themselves. What sounds more likely to me is that Muggles came up with this rule as a way to maintain power and control over the wizards. My theory is that sometime in the distant past, the wizards had a war with the Muggles and lost. The Muggles killed the most powerful wizards and created the Ministry of Magic to keep their power in check. I think it's very possible that the invention of guns back in the 14th century and the exponential technological advancements in weaponry during that time period resulted in the Muggles finally being able to defeat their wizard counterparts. It also makes a lot of sense as tensions between the two groups were sky high during that period. After thinking about this a little more, I started to draw some comparisons between the wizards in Harry Potter and the Native Americans. So hold up, I know that sounds a little bit crazy, but let me explain. I know that they're two totally separate groups who have nothing in common, but we can draw up some similarities, as I believe both groups were persecuted in the same way. Up to 95% of the Native American population was killed when the Europeans came to America. We know that the wizard population is dwindling in Europe, and although we don't know exactly how many wizards there are, it's been estimated by J.K. Rowling that there are 3,000 wizards in Britain during the 1990s. This means that for every wizard living in Britain, there are approximately 20,000 Muggles. But the perplexing thing about this is that wizard families are generally bigger than their Muggle counterparts. Not only that, but the average life expectancy of a wizard is 137 years, with the oldest wizard living to an astounding age of 755. So if wizards live twice as long as Muggles, and they have bigger families, why is the population so low? The logical answer to this is that there was some kind of war between the wizards and Muggles, and at the end of it, most of the wizard kind was killed off, just like the Native Americans. Also, think about the Indian reservations that we have here in the United States. To me, they seem to be awfully similar to the areas that are designated for wizards in the Harry Potter world. Most of the reservations are tucked away far from any areas of civilization, just like how the places set aside for wizards are out of reach for most Muggles. Another piece of evidence is the fact that wizards are generally not that powerful nowadays. Yes, Dumbledore is powerful, but compared to wizards in the past, he is pretty weak. Nowadays, wizards generally don't experiment with magic, and the reason for that is because the Ministry strictly regulates it. Wizards have to register all spells, they must register as Animagi, and they even collect and hide powerful artifacts like time turners. There is also a general culture of complacency that seems to permeate the wizarding world. By and large, they seem almost pacified. So if you made it through all the way till the end, I hope you enjoyed the video and found some of these theories plausible, but tell me what you thought. If you hated these theories, if you loved these theories, if you couldn't give a shit, tell me what you thought. And the next video I have coming out is How I Met Your Mother Facts, and I've been meaning to do that video for a while, so it'll be out in the next couple days. Alright, I'll see you guys next time.